So hello everybody, welcome back to the Game House. College esports, high school esports. It's a big thing in this country. We're trying to figure out the best way to make it work. We're trying to fit a lot of new concepts into institutions that are very old. They're not used to changing. They're used to doing things a certain way. And it I think we're missing an excellent opportunity to cultivate skills in the next generation of adults that will actually make school exciting again. Because lately, and I've seen this, and it's I think esports is the answer, but lately education seems to be in a rut. We're trying to find the best way to serve as many people as possible. I have with me today somebody from Sweden, all the way across the world. Where he's at right now, it's evening. Where I'm at right now, having this conversation, we're still sort of in the morning. So, welcome. I want this person to introduce himself. So Rasmus, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you. Tell us a little bit about what you do. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. So, as you said, my name is Rasmus, and I'm from Sweden. I come from a real sporting family. I had, I have an uncle that played in the NHL for 14 seasons, and then my other uncles played in Elitserien, the highest league in Sweden, and my father did so as well. And both me and my cousin played in the second highest league in Sweden. So we played professional as well. And on my mother's side, they all played football, or soccer as you call it, in the highest league in Sweden. So I come from a real sport family. I attended hockey. In Sweden, it's called upper secondary school. So I attended that. I always had a big interest for esport. Been doing it at the same time as I played hockey, and had a lot of teammates that also did so. I know that there's a lot of people doing sports on a high level that also enjoy playing esports. But I grew more tired of hockey. I had a lot of injuries and got more into the esports world. So at 2011, I started a non-profit organization that organized online tournaments in different games, mainly Counter-Strike and League of Legends. And we grew from around 200 members to 25,000 members in only a couple of years. I think it's around 30,000 members now. I'm not a part of that organization any longer, but it's called Kata Gaming. And I also started my own programming company at the same time as I studied to become a programmer. And at the same time, we started getting the idea on how to involve esports in school. Because when we ran this non-profit organization, we noticed that a lot of young players play a lot of games. They put in the hours, but they don't really practice the esport. They don't have a plan on how to become better. They don't have any structure. So we actually took in 5 young players to our organization and helped them get the structure and coach them and so on. And they were like pretty. Some of them were actually pretty new to the game. They haven't only played like matchmaking and so on. And we noticed how fast we could develop them. And only like 3 years after that, 2 of them played in the highest league in Sweden. One of them actually won. So if you really practice for real and treat it like any other sport, it's so much easier to get to the top faster. So yeah.
Okay. So very nice. So okay. But what you're talking about right now is using that sport background, that training focus, and you're also taking it to the next level and using those using the game itself to teach other skills, right?
Yeah, for sure. Um, we built an educational platform. We have spent a lot of time on it. We have developed it for 3.5 years, and also developed the concept and all of our content and courses and different features for both teachers and students. So basically, our job is to motivate students to school with the help of esports. Uh, and we also, like, while doing this, we can also help them, like, achieve their dreams and become really good at the game, or becoming like another role, like a coach or analyst, or maybe commentator and so on. So we don't only focus on helping young kids getting better at the game. We help them get better as in other roles as well. We want to be able to help as many as possible. So yeah, the platform and our company is called Learn to Esport. And we've been doing this for around 3.5 years. So our first students that attended Karlfeldt Gymnasium in Navesta, they actually graduated 1 week ago. So they were our first esports alumni.
Wow. So let's talk about that right there. So if the first students graduated 3 years ago, so you just started. Now, when you first began this process, when you were trying to show the powers that be, when you were trying to show the administrators, hey, here's this new trend, you can take advantage of this very popular you could call it social slash competitive activity. You can take advantage of this and teach the skills that people need, like communication and writing and math and project management. So when you were first having those conversations with the administrators and their reactions back to you, it seems like, to me, at least in this country, it's really hard to convince administrators to change their program and their curriculum focus. So when you were talking with those people, I mean, your country, and explaining this to them, what'd they say?
Yeah, a lot of schools or principals that we talked to actually, like, they understood that it was something good, but they were kind of afraid to bring it into schools. They were kind of afraid of what the parents would say, or if they were going to be seen as a serious school anymore if they brought esport in. But now, 3 years later, a lot of schools are doing it in Sweden, and they really see the potential benefits. We started out asking questions to the principals, like, how do you reach out to kids that are playing a lot, and do you have a lot of kids playing esports on your school? And every school has that in Sweden. Every school in the world has that.
Right.
So when we talked to them on, like, okay, how do you reach these students? They mostly said, we don't. This is a world we don't know anything about, so it's hard for us to actually reach out to them and motivating them for school. And so we said, okay, what if we have an answer to it? What if we can reach out to these students and motivate them, and even get more students to apply to your school with the help of esports? So on the first school that we started, the principal was, he's a real smart guy. He saw the benefit straight away, but he had, like, really, I mean, he really wanted it to go well. It's like, we can't just throw esport in the schedule and let them sit there and play and then they go home, because we really have to do this the right way. We have to connect it to a subject, and we have to have a good esport coach on place.
Right.
And we have to, like, do it real solid. So we presented our plan and our goals, and we just took it from there. So
okay, so
they were.
Oh, sorry about that. So one of the problems that exists exists in this country is the perception that gaming, the violence that's in gaming, it cultivates, it creates, it encourages people in real life to be violent. Now, is that something that you had to deal with?
Nah, I mean, I think there was some teacher or some principal that asked the question if that's the case. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of studies out there that has shown that people that watch like film that has violence in it doesn't become more violent in real life.
Okay.
I mean, there are some certain people that can't handle it and they might become violent, but they are such a low percentage. And I mean, I'm not an expert in this area,
Right.
but I believe that a person like that will become violent anyway. But I'm not really sure. But it's not something that we have any problem at all with
Okay.
our students. And with our non-profit organization, we have met a lot of young esporters, and we have never had any problem with that.
Got it. Okay, so you get in the door, you get somebody on your side who realizes the value of this, and he jumps in with both feet and says, "Hey, we're gonna do this the right way. We're gonna make this happen, and we're gonna attach this to real subjects." So you go from the level of the administrator, and you bring it down to the teacher level. What were some issues that you had to, or what were some questions you had to answer with the teachers? Because it seems like to me you could tell the teacher pretty fast, right?
Yeah, the teachers are not hard to convince that this is a good thing because they have everyday contact with the students and they know how much they love esport, and they also have the pedagogical skills to reach out to these students. So when we show them that they can do it through esports and help them with the tools that our platform provides, it becomes like their job becomes easier in that aspect. So it hasn't really been any problem convincing the teachers that this is a good thing. And a lot of the teachers today are actually playing themselves.
Yeah, they are by now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you got the principal on board, you got the teachers on board. When the parents heard about this and they watched their kids look, pick up these skills, and you had the conversations with the parents, parents along the way. What'd they say?
Yeah, at the start, we noticed we attended some events the school had to advertise this esport program. We actually noticed a lot of students like getting dragged away from our booth because the parents didn't want to attend the esport program. But when we saw that, we usually left the booth and went up to the parents and just asked them some questions and talked to them about what esport in school really is. Because a lot of parents believe that the only education they would get was like, okay, they go esport program, so they only study esport in school. But
Right.
that's not the fact. I mean, you choose like a main course in the upper secondary, not a course, but a main program in upper secondary school in Sweden. So you can go like to become a carpenter. You can go like technique. It's called. It's more like math and science based. And you can go like to become a chef or whatever. Like you choose a profession or you choose a program that it prepares you to go to the university. So when we said that the esport part is only like an individual choice, like any other sports, they really become interested. And when we also told them that physical training is a part of this program, you have to practice physical once a week with the school's gym teacher. Almost everybody gets like positive to it.
Okay, good. So the parents did have some fear going in because they see their kid just sitting in front of the screen all the time playing this game and not doing anything. So they see the school picking up on it, and they only have their own limited view. However, when you say no, this is part of a larger program. We're going to force them to get away from the screen. We're going to force them to learn skills that move beyond just sitting in front of a screen and playing the game, using the game itself as a tool to teach communication, to teach math, to teach them to interact with each other and to cultivate their own skill set. So it sounds like to me that your program so far has been, all three levels. You've really addressed some serious concerns. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And the skill set is like one of the most important things that we focus on, because today actually there's a really low percentage that become pro players, and there's so many people that want to become pro players, and it's harder to become a professional esport player than to become a professional football player or a professional hockey player, because there are not really many pros as a professional players out there yet, because the league systems in esports are not still they are not as developed as the sport like ecosystem. Because in Sweden, I mean, if you play in the highest league, it's your job. You earn good. If you play in the second league, it's also your job. And even in some teams in the third league, you can play for a living. But in Sweden, we have been a leading country in Counter-Strike for like 15, 20 years. And still, I only think we have around 10 to 15 players that actually plays full time today.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
So actually, there's very few professional players compared to how many that actually strives to become one. And I think we will see changes in that in the coming years, maybe 5 to 10 years.
Right.
But right now it's really hard to become a professional player. So we really try to have like a broader approach where we actually really focus on the skills like collaboration or communication or project leading and critical thinking and things like that. And also how to be creative and how to utilize the skills learned through esports in a future work life.
Very nice. Okay, so you've been doing this now 3 years. You started with one group of students, and you're obviously still going because something doesn't sustain itself over many years if you don't show the results. So when you first started out in your first year, how many students did you have?
I think we had around 10 students when we started out.
Okay.
And then we grew the second year. I think we had around 20 students at most at that school, and that's a really small town in Sweden. I think it's around 10,000 people living in that city.
Okay.
So right now on all our schools in Sweden, we have a couple of hundred students. But we are really getting ready to expand now. We have been developing this through the years without really pushing to sell it more, because we wanted to have a really good product before we started like going out selling it more. So now we feel that we are ready to take on more schools. So we actually we're growing every day now, and we have a lot of more schools coming in, and we're also getting ready to expand to both USA and Asia.
Very nice. Okay, so and right at this point, it's important for people to know that you didn't start to hardcore sell right off the bat. You spent a couple years refining your product. You figured out what worked and what didn't work, and when I try to explain to people what it's like to develop a product, it's really hard to communicate with them, because what they think will work and what actually works are always two separate things. What you think will be an awesome feature and people will love it, turns out the users actually focus on something completely different and that works well for what they want to do, or they want something that you hadn't even thought of, or that you might have thought of and decided as the team, this isn't an important feature at this point, or I don't think anybody will actually want this. And then so sort of walk me through your whole development process. Along the way, what things did you think would work but didn't? What things did you think no one will want this feature, but it turns out that a lot of people do?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like, you have to get an idea on what you want to do. But
Right.
an idea is also a lot of people come up with ideas that might sound good to them, and like, okay, let's do this. But what you really have to think about is, what problem is your idea solving?
Mm-hmm.
Whose problem are you solving? And are there enough people that have this problem that you can solve? So it's big enough to make like a business out of it.
Right.
And since the esports scene is growing so fast still, and we knew that a lot of schools in Sweden had problems with the grades going down and unmotivated students. So we actually wanted to approach and try to solve that problems in some way. We can't solve it for everyone because everyone is not interested in esport. We can only like reach a certain group, but that group is really big. So to develop a product, you have to solve a problem, and then you have to decide on how you're going to solve it, and also how much money it's going to cost you. And for us, since it's a technical problem or a technical product, so since we run a programming company, we have all the competence in the company, or had all the competence in the company to actually build it ourselves. So we didn't have to raise any money like all other startups, because we could like put in a lot of extra time on our like spare time after work hours, and we have been working really hard this year. So I mean, to build a product, it's a really long way, and as you say, a lot of things you do don't come out the way you think.
Yeah, exactly.
These 3 years hasn't been like a straight road where everything has gone perfect. At the start, we were too naive. We believed that we can build such a good platform that you didn't had to have any teacher in the classroom, so the students could be able to just log on to our platform, do their lesson, and like do their thing. But in real life, that's not possible. You need to have a teacher, and during this year we have really understood how important the teachers are in the school. I mean, even if it's their biggest passion in esports, it's not enough to keep them focused or to keep them doing what they should. So that was one of the problems that we encountered, that you really need to have a teacher that understands your product and understands your platform and know how to keep the students focused and motivated. So that was one of the big issues. And of course, we also noticed parts on the website that the students thought was hard to use, or functions that they didn't use at all, or functions that they missed. But we have, during these 3 years, had close contact with all the students to be able to get feedback from them and to be able to develop this together with them and together with the schools. So the students that started 3 years ago that graduated now has actually been a super big help to us developing this, and we would never have such a good product that we do today without them. So we are really grateful to them. And a lot of the students actually said that they didn't want to graduate now, because the product now it's so much better now than they started.
Right.
So
Interesting. Okay, so as you expand into other countries, into America, in going east into Asia, So sort of talk about how you think you'll deal with the cultural differences when it comes to education. I mean, I know you specifically have somebody on your team, and that's what they do. They focus on the educational side. But schools in Sweden and schools in Poland, schools in America they're all different. So when you're going to America and you're going to Asia, like you're going to South Korea or Thailand or Vietnam, those are the school structure, the school expectations, the culture is inherently different. How do you think that you'll be able to deal with that?
I believe that in America, it's I mean, sports are really integrated to schools really already in high school and college and universities and so on. So I think that approach, with treating it as a sport and using our platform as a tool for these collegiate esport teams or the high school teams, and also being able to like show the schools that how we can like help students get more motivated will be one part. I think that America or the schools that we have talked to there are really interested, but it's more like the colleges and universities. We will, for example, offer certificate courses in different, like in coaching and on how to become a better analyst or how to become like a project leader in one game or so on. I think those, like the universities and colleges, are pretty open to already integrating esports, and there are a lot of colleges that already has collegiate esport teams and that are already offering some courses, but the most of them are really basic and they haven't really put in the time in that we had developing our curriculum, since we have been doing it for 3.5 years. So our curriculum, I believe, is a lot more developed and it covers more subjects than the current one. So I think America is, the culture difference won't be a problem as I see it. When it comes to Asia, I am not really, I don't know the Asian market or the culture well enough to actually speak about that, but we have people in the company that do and know how to approach this, and we also work with the company that already works with schools in Asia, so there will be a huge help for us there. But in the American part, I think we will be able to handle, but of course we have to be adaptable. We have to see what works and see how the schools want to do it, and then just make the best out of the situation. I don't think we can just come in and say, okay, start this esport program as you do in Sweden. I think we will be able to adapt it, but that's no problem for us.
Very nice, very nice. Well, so this has been a very, very educational conversation, and it's funny because even in our conversations before we got to recording, I did not know that you had a relative that played in the NHL. So is your uncle is that Nicholas Sandstrom, right?
Thomas Sandstrom.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Thomas Sandstrom.
But yeah, exactly, Thomas Sandstrom. But there's also an old NHL player called Niklas Sundström. It's almost like Sandstrom, but it with an U instead of an A at the start.
Very nice. Okay, so that's good to know. So your uncle is Thomas Sandstrom. Okay, so for people who end up listening to this thing all the way through, there's your little nugget of joy for the day, that I got to talk to the nephew of Thomas Sandstrom. There you go.
Yeah.
And the nephew of Thomas Sandstrom is making Swedish esports better and doing it also globally for students everywhere. So Rasmus, thank you very, very much for making time to talk to me today. Everybody, check out the site learn2esport.com. You can find them on Facebook, facebook.com learn2esport, and also on Instagram. You can check them out at the same same place, Learn to Esport. As we shut this down, Rasmus, so thank you. Like I said, thank you for making time for me. So your rollout, as you roll out to USA and into the Asian market, your whole time frame on this, is this going to be in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's going to be in the next 6 months. We are pretty far ahead with the expansions already. So in 6 months, we will be offering our courses on several schools in USA.
Very nice, very much. I wish you all the luck, all the positive vibes that I can send you. I have seen firsthand the value of gaming and esports at the college and high school level. I know that a lot of colleges start esports programs for, I mean, it is popular and people want to be involved with it, but for the primary motivating factor for a lot of colleges in America is that it's the startup costs are so cheap. It's so simple to start a program and maintain one. I'm glad that you and your idea have shown up on the scene, and you be able to educate people more on this topic. Like I said, thanks very much for making time for me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Everybody, if you like this content and the other great stuff that we have on the Game Haus YouTube channel, please share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.